Hola Eras Academy family. First of all, I want to apologize. I did not post this video from our last lesson 2 weeks ago, the week before Thanksgiving. I just never got around to doing the video, and honestly, I forgot about it. So here it is now. Sorry if you were looking for it. So this is going to cover the lesson 5 vocabulary and also the verb gustar. Gustar is a pretty big concept in the language. It's how we say I like, or he likes, or you like, that kind of thing. So we'll get into that. So the lesson 5 vocabulary, it's pretty straightforward. We have a few food items. We have el helado. H's are silent in Spanish. Unless it's a CH, then it says ch. But anyway, that H at the beginning of helado is silent. El helado, the ice cream. El bocadillo, the sandwich. El refresco, the soda. El jugo de naranja, the orange juice. And then we learned languages. Just Espanol is Spanish and Inglés is English. And actually the kids, most of them already knew Espanol was Spanish, so that's good. And then we learned 3 new verbs. Come, which means eats, he or she eats. Bebe, which means he or she drinks. And habla, which means he or she speaks. Before we jump into gustar, I want to make a note about verbs. So up until this lesson, we have learned the third person singular form of verbs. Basically, we only learned how to say he or she likes, or not likes, sorry, he or she does something. So we learned like monta, he or she rides, like rides a bike. Or toma, he or she takes, or escucha, he or she listens. But in this lesson, we introduced what's called the infinitive form of verbs. That is the root form with no subject. So the way we say it in English is to do something, like to ride, to take, to listen, to speak. And so all verbs in Spanish end in either AR, ER, or IR, and that's called the infinitive form. And from there, you change the endings to match the person. So the way we do this in English, we have like a simplified version. We say, I listen, you listen, but he or she listens, right? So we change, for third person singular, we add an S. That's our only conjugation in English. But in Spanish, every subject has a different verb form. So we will learn more about that next week. But in this lesson, we just introduced the infinitive form, the basic root form of the words. So they're written on the bottom of the lesson 7 sheet that we gave the kids this week. I'm just going to read them real quick. Montar, to ride. Tomar, to take. Escuchar, to listen. Hablar, to speak. Comer, to eat. Beber, to drink. Jugar, to play. Ver, to see. Traer, to bring. Ir, to go. Ser, to be. Estar, to be. Ser and estar both mean to be, but we use them in different instances. We'll probably get more into that in the future. Don't worry too much about that. So the reason I introduced the root forms of verbs is because we used the verbs to introduce gustar. So to like, it really means to be pleasing to, and that's important because of how the sentence is structured. So in English, I like is, obviously that's the action. How am I trying to say this? I'm the one doing the liking. But in Spanish, it's more like the thing that's being liked is doing the action. So the thing is pleasing. So that's why we word it like pleasing to. But that's the only way to do like. So to say I like cookies, we don't say it like that in Spanish. We basically say the cookies are pleasing to me. Okay, so that to me is important for the sentence structure. Or if he likes the cookies are pleasing to him. You like the cookies are pleasing to you. But anyway, this week we practiced it with verbs. So running is pleasing to me, that kind of thing. Okay, so gustar, to like or to be pleasing to, is the better way to think about it with sentence structure. So some of the examples I put, le gusta hablar. He or she likes to speak. Now, so just le gusta means he or she. If you want to specify a person's name, you have to put an a before it, because it's really speaking is pleasing to David. So that a is the to. So that is important. So with gustar, you always have to put a before the person's name. So we have a David le gusta hablar, which we would translate that as David likes to speak. But it's really more like, to David, speaking is pleasing. Or speaking is pleasing to David. Anyway, to say someone doesn't like something, you just put no before the le. So no le gusta hablar. He or she doesn't like to speak. A David no le gusta hablar. David doesn't like to speak. To say I like, it's really something's pleasing to me. Me gusta. Me gusta hablar. I like to speak. No me gusta hablar. I don't like to speak. You like to speak would be te gusta hablar. Or no te gusta hablar. You don't like to speak. Now, if you want to just ask somebody, do you like to speak? There's no word for do in that helping verb kind of way that we use it in English. So you basically just say te gusta hablar. So it's the same as you like to speak. You just say it with a voice inflection like a question. Or if it's written, you put the question marks. Or, okay, you can also, I also put on here que te gusta. That means what do you like? And then I made a note on here that we actually didn't get to until today's lesson, that if you are using gustar with nouns, if the object or the noun is plural, you'll use gustan instead of gusta. So I put that as a note there. And also you can put a mi before me to add emphasis, or a ti before te to add emphasis, but it's not necessary. Oh yeah, so then when liking an action, use the following verb form, the infinitive form. Those are what I read at the beginning. Okay, so that is gustar in a nutshell. The simple version is le gusta, he or she likes. No le gusta, he or she doesn't like. Me gusta, I like. No me gusta, I don't like. Te gusta, you like or do you like? No te gusta, you don't like. Okay, those are the important points about gustar. I know my explanation was kind of a lot. But yeah, just stick to that simplified version at the end. That's the important thing. If you get me gusta, le gusta, and te gusta down, then that's the important part. Adios.